Wassalam ala Rasulillahi amma ba'du. For this, the last lecture for this program that we've been dealing with in the last 2 days, some sister during the course of the day had put forth a question concerning the 10 major signs. So the organizers had agreed that the talk can be something centered around that, to change it from what was the last scheduled topic. I think it was called Famous Women of Islam, something like that. So I had mentioned in answering the question that there were 10 major signs, and while I was waiting to come on, I asked a few of the brothers here what were those 10 major signs. I asked one brother, in a nice way I'm saying this, not to put him down, I asked him how many major signs. He said, I don't know. And I asked the other ones, how many? Someone said 10. What were they? And a lot of people don't know. And I'm not putting that brother down. I want him to feel that way. It's just making a point that these issues are really important because we're living in the last days, so we should kind of like not just hear these issues and let them go by, because all of them are having subdivisions and branches connected to them that are extremely important. Again, just to mention this issue, there is some fiqh concerning the major signs, some understanding that we have to have, issues we should know. The major signs are different from the minor signs. A lot of differences. The very first minor sign is the sending of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who said, "Bu'ithtu bayna yaday sa' kahatain." I've been sent close to the hour like this, and he put his fingers like that. And he also said that he was the first sign that Yawmul Qiyamah is about to be established. So those minor signs, they're stretched out far apart. Somalia is a minor sign. Iraq, Palestine, what's going on here in Toronto, all of these are minor signs. Knowledge is being sought from the wrong people. The knowledge is decreasing. People are dressed, but they're not dressed. So many minor signs. The major signs are different from that. And there are a few issues that we want to discuss concerning those major signs. The first one is a hadith that we used earlier today, the hadith of the companion Hudayfa ibn Usayd, who said that the companions were collectively discussing something when the Prophet came out, and he said to them, "Ma tadhakarun?" What are you people talking about? They told him, "Nadhkuru sa'a ya Rasulullah." We're talking about the hour. So he told them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Lan taqum hatta taro 10 ayat." Yawmul Qiyam is not going to come until you see 10 signs. That hadith goes to show, number one, that the companions used to sit and collectively study these issues. They used to sit and they used to discuss them amongst themselves, trying to get educated about it, trying to get ready for it, trying to understand correctly these issues. So if it was good enough for them, it should be good enough for us. We shouldn't be a group of people who never take the time out to study these things and to mention these things. So I think what that sister did, inshallah, may Allah put this in her mizan of hasanat, and she's the reason why we can practice this sunnah that the Prophet saw his companions doing, and he gave them his tacit approval. He used to take the initiative and tell them about the signs, and many times they would ask him and he would answer the question. So it was an issue that was at the forefront of their mind. So what we're doing right now is from his sunnah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So those 10 major signs, right? If we're going to have fiqh about them, we have to know what they are. The 10 major signs. As I mentioned earlier today in this hadith, it's the sun rising from the west. It's the dukhan that's going to come in the sky, the smoke. Ad-Dajjal is number 3. The dabba, the animal, you can't tell the front from the back, is the 4th one. The Mahdi is the 5th one. Ya'juj and Ma'juj, number 6. Isa ibn Maryam coming down, number 7. 3 major earthquakes, landslides, number 8. And those major earthquakes, they're not the earthquakes that happened in the tsunami. Those tsunamis that happened in the Muslim world around there. Those not from the major signs, and we'll tell you why when we come to that. So if those tsunamis were not a major earthquake of the major signs, then only Allah knows the intensity and the sheer volume of the earthquakes of Yawm al-Qiyamah being established. Number 9 is that there will be a wind that will take the souls of the people. And number 10, a fire is going to come and it's going to lead the people to the mahshar, to Yawm al-Qiyamah. So that's what the Nabi said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So from understanding and contemplating these major signs, we have to know what they are first. And we have to also understand about them the way the companions understood. It's not permissible for you to understand that the Mahdi is the Mahdi of the Shiite, somebody who's waiting in a cave for over 1,000 years. The Mahdi is not the Mahdi of Sudan, who fought the Brits and defeated the Brits. The Mahdi is not Dr. York in Brooklyn from the Ansarullah community. A Dajjal, the Dajjal that the companions understood, not the Dajjal of the people, arrivals. We found that many of our Shabab used to get on the internet and they would watch all of those clips on YouTube about the arrivals. 5 hours worth of videos. You have to get a life. If you have time to watch that nonsense and then at the end of the day they're talking about a Shiite Mahdi, the Dajjal was a Mahdi that was, the Dajjal was a human being. That's what the companions understood. They thought that the little boy Abdullah ibn Sayyad was possibly the Dajjal. The Prophet said that the Dajjal, he won't have any children. He's a human being who has one eye. He's not the TV set. You'll find somebody saying that the Dajjal is the New World Order, it's the financial system, it's the political system. Oh, the Dajjal is a human being. So the point is, all of these 10 signs, we have to understand them, comprehend them, get fiqh about them, and come out with a natija or a result that the companions came out with, not some new stuff. Another thing that we have to understand about these 10 major signs is that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't mention these things just so that we can gather up information for the mere gathering of information. He mentioned these things so that people can do works. And what was collected by Imam Muslim on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, the Nabi told the people sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Badiru bil a'mal sitta. Hurry up and do the good deeds before 6 things happen. Hurry up and get busy and do the good deeds before 6 things happen. From those 6 things, 4 of them were from the major signs that he mentioned. Hurry up and do good deeds before the sun comes up from the west. Hurry up and do the good deeds before the dabba comes out. Hurry up and do the good deeds before the smoke comes. Hurry up and do the good deeds before the Dajjal comes. And the other 2 are from the minor signs. Hurry up and do good deeds before you die. And hurry up and do good deeds before the bad leaders are over the Muslims. So the point here is, from the fiqh of these major and minor signs, is that the goal and the objective is not just information. It's about doing works. Badiru bil a'mal fitanan kallayl al-mudhlim. يصبح الرجل مؤمنا ويمسي كافرا ويمسي مؤمنا ويصبح كافرا يبيع دينه بأرض من الدنيا. Hurry up and do the good deeds before the time comes when there's a lot of fitna. A person will wake up in the morning as a believer and he'll go to sleep at night as a kafir. He'll go to sleep at night. The nighttime comes, he's a believer. In the morning he'll wake up as a kafir. A person will sell his religion just for some miserable price of the dunya. So the goal and the objective of these major signs is a rahmah from Allah, that we have minor signs and major signs so that people who are sleeping can wake up. People who are making sins can make tawbah, all of us, making preparations for the issue. So that's the third point that we want to mention. And there are a lot of ahadith. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw in a dream the wall of Ya'juj and Ma'juj. He saw in a dream that it was opening up. And he woke up in a state of fear, and he told the people, وَيْلُ لِلْعَرَبْ مِنْ شَرٍ اقْتَرَبَ فُتِحَ الْيَوْمِ رَدْمُ يَأْجُوجْ وَمَأْجُوجْ كَهَكَذَا. Woe unto the Muslims from the evil that is close. The wall of Ya'juj and Ma'juj has opened up like this. And he said every day they're coming and they're trying to open up that wall, And when they can't get it open, by the time the sun goes down, they say, okay, we're coming back tomorrow, and they go back. For some reason, they don't have enough sense, or they don't have the tools and utensils, get on each other's back and jump over the wall. Cut down some trees and make a ladder and get over the wall. They haven't figured that out. But there's going to come a day when that wall is going to be broken down. And when it comes out, it's going to be a problem. So the Prophet ﷺ, after having that dream, he told the women, wake up. Who's going to wake up the women of the Hujurat, his wives? He said, Rubba Kasiya fi dunya, Ariya fil akhirah. Maybe the lady who has some clothes in the dunya will be naked in the hereafter. Maybe, meaning in the dunya, she has some benefit. People think she's religious or something. She thinks she's religious, but in the hereafter, there's going to be problems. So the point here is, he used to be afraid, so he would wake his family up to start making salat and seek refuge in Allah Azza wa Jalla from the fitna of the Ya'juj and the Ma'juj. The goal and the objective of these types of lessons, of this issue, is to get prepared and not to be caught unawares. From what we as Muslims should know concerning these issues of the major signs especially, is what the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is really important. He said, خُرُوجُ الْآيَاتِ بَعْضُهَا عَلَى إِثْرِ بَعْض يَتَتَابَعْنَا كَمَا يَتَابِعُ الْخَرَزْ فِي النَّظَامِ. He said that these ayat, the last 10, when they happen, they're going to be holding on to the heels of each other. Once one comes, the other one is going to come immediately after that. Unlike the minor signs, the Nabi came and he's the first sign of Yawm al-Qiyamah. He's the first one. That was 1,433 years ago that he made his hijrah. So relatively speaking, that's a long time ago, relatively speaking, relative to our lives and the way we consider time. Yawm al-Qiyamah, 1,433 years is not a lot. But relatively speaking, that happened a long time ago. And there are other minor signs that didn't happen yet. Many minor signs, like so many. We don't have time to even go into that. But these major signs are different. Once one of them comes, the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. And that's one of the reasons why we say that the tsunami was not those earthquakes. Because if the tsunami was the earthquake, things would have happened before it already, and other things would have happened quickly after it. Those earthquakes that are coming, they are on a different scale and magnitude. So that's what we have to understand. Also, another important issue concerning what the companions used to study concerning the major signs is the fact that some of those major signs, once they happen, khalas, you can't make tawbah to Allah and you can't accept Islam. He says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ثلاث إذا خرجت لا ينفع نفسا إيمانها ما لم تكن آمنت من قبل. There are 4 signs. If they come out, a person's iman, faith on that day, belief, won't benefit him if he didn't believe before that. And those 4 major signs, if they come out, you can't accept Islam, it won't be accepted from you, will be when the sun comes from the west. Because everybody's going to know La ilaha illallah on that day. Already there are many signs that are around people letting them know. One of the questions that were put forth in the last Q&A session was, how do I tell someone of the existence of Allah? There are many ayat that prove Allah exists that we can use to tell people. But the human being, he wants to be arrogant. He wants to be mutakabbir, and he wants to be mustakbir. He wants to be jahil. He wants to be anid. So he rejects those signs. But concerning these 4 major signs, when the sun rises from the west, everybody is going to know this is something is going on. We sit in our homes and we see the direction of the flow of the sun every day, and we don't take it into consideration. We know in the wintertime when it's cold that such and such a room is the warmest room because the sun is hitting that room at that time. In the morning, I'm drinking coffee in my kitchen with my wife, so the sun is always coming through that room. Every day you get used to it. Now when that process changes, the people are going to say, whoa, this is something different. But at that time, no iman. When the Dajjal comes out, no iman. When the Dabba comes out, no iman. When the Dukhan comes, no iman. Can't make tawbah. You can't become a Muslim at that time. Whereas when Ya'juj and Ma'juj come out, people can become Muslims and they can accept Islam. When the Mahdi comes, they'll see from him stuff, they'll become Muslims, no problem. But those 4 things, if they happen, then khalas. From the fiqh of the major signs is that the tartib, only Allah knows their reality. No one can sit before you and tell you for sure the first sign is going to be this and the second, third, fourth, fifth. No one can say that, because we have different hadith that suggests this is the first one and different hadith that suggests this is the last one. So coming and harmonizing those hadith is a discussion for another time. But the point is, we can't say what's the first and what's the last. Some hadith suggests that the last sign is the sun coming from the west. Other hadith suggests that the fire that comes up and leads the people to al-mahshar is the last one. So we don't know. But what we do know about the tartib is that some of them we know their succession. We know that the Mahdi will come before the Dajjal. And then the Dajjal will come before Isa ibn Maryam. And then Isa ibn Maryam will come before Ya'juj and Ma'juj. So we know that. But what comes before that? What comes after that? Are they first? Are they last? We don't know. So that's not from what we should be wasting time with trying to figure out. Now, if a person wants to go back and to see how the scholars of al-Islam have harmonized some of the seemingly conflicted narrations, and that's a different story. But no one can emphatically say the first one is this, that, because there are multiple interpretations and multiple ahadith. That's what I want to mention about the major signs in terms of fiqh. And there are other issues, but I really want to get to something else, and that is, I want to take this time out to talk about one of the major signs, just a few words, and we'll end this session with this, inshallah, and it's connected to women. One of the 10 major signs that's connected to women, and that is the major sign of the Dajjal. And the reason why I want to mention him is, number one, the Prophet said about him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ما من نبي إلا وقد حذر قومه من المسيح الدجال. There was never a prophet who came except that he warned his people about the Dajjal. They didn't all warn their people about Ya'juj and Ma'juj. They didn't all warn their people about the Dabba. They all warned their people about the Dajjal. He said about that Dajjal, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ما من خلق بين آدم إلى قيام الساعة أكبر من الدجال. There's no fitna from the time that Allah created Adam until Yawm al-Qiyamah. There's no fitna bigger than that Dajjal. That Dajjal is a big problem. He's going to come out, and he'll come to a city of people who will be suffering from a drought, and he'll tell them that he is their Lord, and they'll believe in him. And as a result of that, they're going to get rain, and their animals are going to flourish, and their vegetation is going to flourish, and they're going to benefit in the dunya. And then he'll leave that town and go to another town of believers, and he'll tell them, I'm your Lord, and they'll disbelieve in him because they know the aqidah. They know that Allah Azza wa Jal can't be seen in the dunya, so that disqualifies you. They'll be able to read kafir on his head. They'll know that he has one eye, and Allah doesn't have one eye. Allah has 2 eyes that befit his majesty. He knows how they are. It's not for you and me to try to figure that out. The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Allah laysa bi'a'war. Allah is not with one eye. So when Dajjal comes, he has one eye. He's not Allah. So these people will say, no, you're a liar. You're kadhab. You're the Dajjal. As a result of their iman, they're going to have to suffer from the drought, and their animals are going to die. So that Dajjal is a big fitna. He'll have the Jannah, but his Jannah is the Nar. He'll have the Nar, and his Nar is the Jannah. The time of things being topsy-turvy, upside down. The liar will be believed, and the truthful one will be disbelieved. The one who is not trustworthy will be trusted. You will think that that's your friend. This is the time we're living in. So as I said the other day, you have to exist today with guarded optimism. Don't marry too quickly. Don't borrow money. Don't do things without taking your time. If you have to make a quick decision about something, when you hit the ground running, then you do the best that you can. But if you have time, you take your time to make decisions about everything. Just let that be a part of your minhaj and who you are, in whatever it is. Because we're living in a time where things are not, they are not their reality. Most things are not real. So that Dajjal, as the Nabi said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and why we mentioning this today, connected with the sisters' program and session, he told the people, إِذَا تَشَهَّدَ أَحَدُكُمْ فَلْيَسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ أَرْبَعٍ. If one of you is making the prayer, before coming out of your prayer, you should make isti'adha in Allah from 4 things. You should seek refuge in Allah from 4 things. In your prayer, before salamu alaikum, salamu alaikum, you should say, Allah, I seek refuge in you from the adhab of the qabr. I seek refuge in you from the adhab of the nar. I seek refuge in you in the fitna of a Dajjal. I seek refuge in you from the fitna of the life and the death. There's a scholar in Islam, sisters. His name is Ta'us, which means a peacock. Ta'us. He's from the Tabi'een. He was taught by Abdullah bin Mas'ud, radiyallahu anhu wa ardahu. He used to say to his son, if his little kid would pray the salat, he would say to his son, did you seek refuge in Allah from the Dajjal? If the boy said no, he would tell his boy, make the salat again. This dua that I told you, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min adhab al-qabr wa min adhab al-nar wa fitnat al-masih al-dajjal wa fitnat al-mahya wal-mamat. If you don't make this dua in your prayer, it's the sunnah. Your prayer is not destroyed. It's not batila. You left the sunnah. But why would he tell his son to repeat the prayer? He would tell his son to repeat the prayer because he's giving his son tarbiyah about learning about that dua and the Dajjal. Ta'us ibn Kaysan al-Yamani, he met 50 of the companions, 50. And he said they used to talk about this to him all the time. So he dealt with it with his son, with his child. He made Hajj 40 times, 40. They said, why is it that you make Hajj so many times? He said, because if the Dajjal comes out, he won't be able to enter to Mecca or Medina. So I hope that I'm in Mecca when he comes out. That's how serious he used to look at the issue. Now my child, your child, when I tell my kids, my little man Muawiyah, I tell my little ones, Adwaa, those little guys about the Dajjal, they always say to me, Abi, tell us about the boogeyman. Tell us about the boogeyman. Their concept of the Dajjal is the boogeyman. But that's okay. They're only 4, 3, 5. And all they see is I'm spending time with them, and instead of telling them scary stories of khurafat, Halloween, this, that, I'm telling them something about the religion. Inshallah, when they hit the age of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, that boogeyman story will translate into something that's real. I check out, Allah causes me to check out. My kids have that in their mind. A Dajjal. And how many times did our parents teach us something we didn't understand? We just did it. But then when you got older, you understood the wisdom of what they were doing. So what's wrong with the mother? What's wrong with the mother, the older sister, sitting down, telling her children about the Dajjal, her nieces and nephews about the Dajjal, spending some quality time before bed or other than that? And the Nabi, as I told you, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, used to sit with his companions, and for no reason he starts mentioning the Dajjal. And while he was talking to them about the Dajjal, one time he was talking, and he looked over. In the middle of the talk, he just looked over. All of the people looked at the same time. And he just looked back at them, and he saw they were nervous. He said, what's the matter? He said, Ya Rasulullah, you were talking to us about the Dajjal. Then you looked over there. We thought he was going to come out right now. So we were nervous. The Prophet said, if he were to come out and I'm with you, ana hajijukum min dunihi, I'm going to protect you from him. Don't worry, I'm here with you. Which goes to show the companions are not like anybody else. Anjasha and everybody else. They were there with the Nabi, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of them would be afraid to do something because the Quran can come down and expose them for the relationship, for the business dealing, for what he's involved in. The Quran can come down and reveal his situation, like what happened with Hafs and Aisha. So they had to be on a level that was not our level. I leave this place and I go over here to this place, they call it Dixie, I think, something like that, and I go buy a gun, I go buy some crack, I go buy some weed, I do what I want. You don't know what I'm doing. Those companions were not like that. So the Nabi said, I will protect you if he came out. He said, but if he came out and I'm not here, فَكُلُّ مُؤْمِنْ حَجِيجْ نَفْسِهِ. If he comes out and I'm not here, everybody be responsible for his own self. And I'm telling you, none of us are in a position, without any istithna, no exception, none of us are in a position to be sure about our deen when the Dajjal comes out. So he told us what? If he comes out and you hear about it, go the other way. Because a person will think he's on a level of religion and he'll go and then he'll be tricked. Because the Dajjal will have the ability to bring your mother back to life, your father back to life, meaning he'll take on that image and start talking to you like he's your mother. And that's why we don't sit and take knowledge from any and everybody based on that hadith. Don't go to any and everybody. Go to the people who they have knowledge, they're talking about the Sunnah, they're talking about the correct Aqidah, they're inviting the people to al-Ittiba and I'tisam on the Sunnah and things like that. People talking all that nonsense, jihad, the da'wah of killing people, shabab, this, that. Avoid those people. We don't want our young people throwing their lives away, going to Somalia to do what? To do what? To raise the banner of La ilaha illallah? So anyway, the point here is that Tabi'i, Ta'us ibn Kaysan al-Yamani, tell his son, do your salat again. Why did he tell him that? Again, because the companions used to put that type of tarkeez and emphasis on the issue, and also because he knew the majority of the people will follow the Dajjal are women and children. That's what the Nabi said. That's not a misogynistic statement. That's not a statement where someone is anti-woman and feminine. La. The majority of the people will follow the Dajjal or the women. And that's for many reasons. They don't have many opportunities to get educated in the deen. A lot of times the woman is just a vessel to have children and that's it. A lot of times the culture, the society is putting her on the parameters of she's being marginalized. She's not learning. Another reason, as we mentioned the other day, she's watching TV all day, those musalsalat. She's just, that's her life, is the musalsalat. She buys those magazines about who did this and who did what and what happened and that and this, who had that and why did they name their baby this and that and that. It's not only women who do that, but generally that's what you'll find. That's what you'll find. And you'll find men, they'll go to the movies and they'll watch a movie, and I'm not saying that's okay, but it's a fact. They'll go to the movies, they'll watch a movie, but not like the woman. Many women give their time to that nonsense. So the man will say to his friend, stop being like a woman. Stop being like a woman. So it's not for the Muslim woman to have her mind in the gutter like that. The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inna Allah yuhibbu ma'ali al-umur wa yakrahu safsafaha. Allah loves the high affairs, for you to have high determination, for you to be a person who memorizes or do this, you get your degree. Don't just be satisfied with what's low. These Asian communities, we call them Asians over there. Only when I started to live in the UK would I call them Asians, but Pakistanis, these Pakistanis in the other masajid in this city, they expect their children to go to the university, and they go. And we don't expect that from our black people. We don't expect that from, we're low achievers for different reasons. And the Somali community being in the diaspora, that you find yourself, you not in your country, you're in a host country. And now this country has become ours, so I'm not apologizing. We're here, we pay taxes, and we've become an integral part of the fiber of this society. But we have a lot of issues. And one of those issues is being satisfied with being low achievers. Why we have to be low achievers? And then our women, our girls are accelerating academically, professionally, over the males, and something's wrong with that equation. Something's wrong with that equation. So the shahid of all of that kalam is, the point of all of that is, if the women are going to be the majority of the followers of a Dajjal, then she more than anyone has to be on top of her program. She has to be on top of her program. So that Dajjal, a lot has been mentioned concerning him. One of the reasons why we're mentioning him instead of the other 9 is again that the Prophet, he told the people sallallahu alaihi wasallam, la yakhruj. لا يخرج الدجال حتى يذهل الناس عن ذكره وحتى تترك الأئمة ذكره على المنابر. The Dajjal is not going to come out. He will not appear. He's not going to come out until people forget about him and until the Imams stop mentioning him on the minbar. So as long as people are mentioning him, people are reminding each other about him, he's not going to come out. But if the people stop talking about him, he's going to come out while the people are on that state of ghafla. And when he comes out, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a major problem. So with that being the case, my sisters, aunties, my little nieces, you guys, this is an issue that it's worth your while to turn that TV off sometimes and sit down with your children. You learn some things about the Dajjal. Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim has the most hadith about the Dajjal in it. And you go over those issues to let these children and yourselves know to be aware. A soldier who is informed and aware, he's more effective than the soldier who doesn't know. They say to him, go conquer that mountain over there. And some people just run off. Other soldiers say, why we got to conquer that mountain? What's over there? You tell him what's over there, he'll know what's going on. It makes sense. He'll be more inclined to be committed to that. So how are you going to fight the battle if you don't have weaponry? And how are you going to fight the battle if you don't even know the enemy? And the way we know this enemy of a Dajjal is through the correct aqeedah. From the Usool of a Salafiyah, the Salafiyah meaning not no group. There's a group of people call themselves Salafis. Don't be with them, Troy. Don't be with them people. Be with a Salafiyah. And what's that in Salafiyah? Understanding this Quran and the Sunnah the way Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali understood it. That's what it is. As for the group, you must be with us in our group. Lad, get out of here. That's not from our deen. If you want to go pray in this group, no problem. But I'm with a group, don't be upon Salafiyah. From the Usool of a Salafiyah is knowing that you can't see Allah in this dunya. You cannot see Allah in this dunya. So I want to end on this particular issue, inshallah, and we'll call it a day. There was a hadith that's been collected by the Imam Bukhari and Muslim. Both of those hadith, they talk about the same issue, but one in Bukhari brings some information, the other one in Muslim doesn't bring, and vice versa. The one in Muslim was narrated by the companion An-Nawas ibn Sam'an. And the one in Bukhari is Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Tremendous hadith in which the Nabi said that Dajjal is going to come, and they're going to be a group of people from this ummah who still don't know. They're 50-50. Is he Allah? Is he not Allah? 60-40, 40-60, 30-70. They're going to be a group who still, they don't know. He didn't totally captivate them yet. So there'll be a young man who'll come and he'll say, you're the Dajjal that the Prophet warned us of. And then he'll tell the people, hey, this guy is the Dajjal. This guy is the Dajjal. You better watch out. Let's get out of here. Get away from him. He's the Dajjal. Which is a proof that warning about people is from the religion. But you have to warn about people with justice. You have to warn about people with knowledge. You have to warn about people not based on personalities and politics and power and nonsense. This guy, he is the Dajjal. That Dajjal will say to those 50-50 people, 40-60 people, 60-40 people, if I kill this guy and bring him back to life, would you people then believe that I'm your Lord? They say, of course. Allah is the one who gives life and death. He will cut that man in half. The Prophet said, يَقْتَعُهُ جَزْلَتَيْن. Jazlatain means he's going to be split in half. Split. Two distinct parts. And he's going to walk right between him and turn around and point at him, and the boy is going to come back to life, and Dajjal is going to start laughing. The boy is going to stand up and he's going to say, now I have no doubt. I have no doubt. I'm even more clear. أنت الدجال الذي حذرنا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم منه في حديثه. I have no doubt you're the Dajjal that the Prophet warned us about in his hadith. In his hadith. Now this hadith has a lot of benefits in it. From the benefits, as I mentioned, warning about people is from the religion. But how do you warn? You're qualified, you're competent, you're fair. A Salafiyya is fair and just. It's not like these other groups, political groups, and other than that, when they pronounce takfir on people, they put you outside of the religion because your sister isn't wearing hijab, she's a kafir. She's not a kafir. Because the man became a homosexual, he's Somali, he became homosexual. He's not a kafir. He's not a kafir. Whether you like it or you don't like what he's doing, it doesn't allow you to stretch the situation. Just be fair and be just. So we warn with justice, with knowledge, with competence. You look at the situation and you warn, well, you're not going to make a bigger fitna, and so forth and so on. And sometimes you shouldn't even warn because it's going to create a problem. That's one of the benefits. Another benefit is, and this is what I want to point to you based on the sister's question earlier about her friend who said, if the thing is not mentioned in the Quran, then she's not going to take it. The boy said, I have no doubt that you're the Dajjal that the Prophet warned us about, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in his hadith. You don't find the mention of Dajjal like that. You don't find that incident in the Quran about this thing happening. If you're only going to take the Quran to know about the Dajjal, you're not going to know much about him. You won't know anything about him, really, to be honest with you. You won't know that you should learn the first 10 ayat of Surah Al-Kahf and the last 10 ayat of Surah Al-Kahf, although some of the ulama who I respect, like Abu Ishaq al-Huwaini, said that that hadith is da'if, that you should read Surah Al-Kahf on Friday. He said that was da'if. There's an authentic hadith. First 10 ayats, last 10 ayats, Surah Al-Kahf will protect you from Dajjal. So you memorize them. Okay, alhamdulillah, you memorize Yasin, you memorize Ar-Rahman. No, you need to memorize those 10 ayat. First and the last ones. First one or the last 10. Because you didn't believe in the Sunnah, you were ill-equipped. You weren't prepared. What kind of statement is that? So this hadith of the boy saying, I have no doubt you're the Dajjal that the Prophet talked about in his hadith, goes to show the position of the Sunnah in the hadith. And that is, you can't be a real Muslim without that Sunnah. And you cannot possibly be on the Sirat al-Mustaqim without the Sunnah. And from the most lying people on the face of the earth, other people call themselves the Qur'aniyun in India and other than that. That's where they started out from. We only take the Qur'an and that's it. Well, you're making takdhib of the Qur'an if you're saying that, because the Qur'an is telling you to take the Sunnah as well. So concerning this particular issue, sisters, Amatullah, Aisha, Fatima, Sharifa, all of you sisters, Ad-Dajjal, Ad-Dajjal, Ad-Dajjal is a serious issue. We have to try to do something in terms of changing our lifestyle and what we're giving our intellects to, so that we don't dull ourselves and we dumb ourselves down to the point that when he comes, we are primed for the taking. We're ready to be taken. We're ready to be duped. We're ready to be duped. You'll be surprised at what we have to deal with. I don't know what's going on in Canada because I never lived here. But what we have to deal with over in the UK, just the khurafat, the shirkiyat of the people. There's a man in the UK right now, if you go on the YouTube, his name is Pir. The Pir with the Asians, with the Pakistanis. Pir means like the Sheikh. So if you put in the YouTube, his name is Pir Uthman. Pir Uthman. They bring out a bowl or a pot that's supposed to have oil in it and is boiling oil, and the sick people come to him. He puts his hand in the oil. You can't see it. You can't see his hand going in the oil, but all you hear is a loud sound going shh. as if his hand is being burnt. And then he takes his hand out and he touches the people and they get up and they become well again. People come up in the wheelchair and he put his heel in the oil. Shh. And then he put the heel on the thighs and the knee of the man who's been crippled all his life. And then he jumps up and he starts running up and down. And then the people believe that. The people believe that the Prophet came to someone's house and he left a big footprint. Just go on the YouTube and put in the Prophet's footprint. In Pakistan, the people were thousands, tens of thousands of people lining up to pay money to go inside to see the Prophet's footprints. And the footprint was bigger than an elephant's footprint. I'm not lying to you. Put it in there, the Prophet's footprints in the YouTube. You'll see it's there. That's what we're dealing with. Now, if you're that simple, you're a simpleton to that degree. You're that simple. When the Dajjal comes and you need money, we all need money, he's going to be able to just break you off and give you money just like that. And a lot of money. He'll be able to cure people, bi-idhnillah. And the fact that he's able to do that, it's not the first time that someone brought someone else to life. Isa ibn Maryam brought the man to life. Musa brought the man to life. Ibrahim brought the bird to life. Bi-idhnillah. All of those things happen. So why would Allah allow other than the awliya to do it? Why this guy? Why can he do it? Allah said about himself in the Quran, La yus'alu amma yaf'al wa hum yus'alun. Allah is not asked why he does what he does, but they are asked, why do they do what they do? So we need to get a grip and get it together in terms of just trying to learn the basics of our religion, just the basics. You don't have to be a scholar. You don't have to memorize the Quran, although if you did that, alhamdulillah, and prepare ourselves to just be more competent in terms of more competent, more effective. These issues that distract us, that have nothing to do with the reality of our struggle. He's this, she's that, he's on it, that kalam will prevent you from advancing in your religion. You have things that are right in front of your nose. And from what you have to concern yourself with, from a person's good Islam, is concerning himself with that which is his business. Learning about the Dajjal is your business. That's your business. What Shaikh Fulan said about that other Shaikh, and what they said about that guy, and what those people said about Khalid ibn Walid, and what they said about, that's not your business. That's just the kalam of a bunch of young people who just don't have anything else to do, and they've been duped, and they have ghurur. They actually think that they're doing something. As for you, busy yourself with what is going to benefit you when Allah asks you. He's not going to ask you what Shaikh Fulan said about that one, what that Shaikh said about that Shaikh over there, and why he did. He's not going to ask you about those issues. He's going to ask you other issues about your deen. And from your deen is this issue. Protect yourselves and your family from the Dajjal. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to, inshallah, give us the success in this deen, and to give us success in the dunya as well. And like the brother who went before me, we just want to thank all of the brothers and all of the sisters for having us here and participating in this program. So if anything that was said was right and exact, then that's from Allah Azza wa Jal. Wahdahu la sharika lahu. Allah alone. Not Prophet Muhammad, not Jibril. Anything that was right and successful was correct, that was from Allah. Wahdahu la sharika lahu. And anything that was said by me that was incorrect, then Allah and His Messenger, both of them are free from that. And we seek refuge in Allah Azza wa Jal from misrepresenting His deen. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.